Has this country become protectionist, or are there serious, real national security concerns?
Well, I think we're on a verge of going in one direction or another. I mean, for example, you want to get specific, the 4 trade deals with Peru, Colombia, Panama, South Korea that are in front of Congress right now, which the Democrats are trying to block, would be good deals for the United States. In 3 of the 4 of them, we would actually get to export more than we're importing. Why they would want to block this, I can't understand. We're already importing about 98%, 90 to 98% from those countries. We would actually get to export more, and we would increase our export. So, yes, we have to improve our free trade agreements. I think you got to almost separate them into 2 different categories. There's economic protection, and then there's protection for safety, security, and legal rights. And I don't think we've done a particularly good job on the second, and we have to improve those agreements. But we can't throw out the baby with the bathwater. We can't say because these agreements weren't perfect, because they have problems, because they have issues, we're going to turn our back on free trade. Our percentage of our economy that now depends on exports has gone up from 9% to 12%. We're a country that depends on exports. And we're also an entrepreneurial country. We're a country that should think about all these people that are coming out of poverty in China and India and elsewhere. We should think of them as new customers. We should be thinking about what can we sell to them. Energy independence, healthcare. There's so much we can sell to them. Let's get back our entrepreneurial spirit rather than having our head down.
So, yes or no, should a Dubai company be able to own 20% of NASDAQ?
Sure, if they are considered to be safe, if they pass safety and security clearances. Unfortunately, that deal was done so hastily, it was done so quickly, nobody can tell whether they could or they couldn't. But you just can't rule out foreign companies. There's a whole procedure you go through as to whether or not are they safe, are they secure. We cannot stop doing business with the rest of the world. If we do, this is one of the reasons our depression became a Great Depression, because we erected such high tariffs that we extended depression from 2 or 3 years to 10 or 11 years.
Very quickly down the line, same question. Should a Dubai company be able to own 20% of NASDAQ? Congressman.
If there's no conflict with national security, certainly yes, they should.
This is the story, Dubai owning NASDAQ. Is there security
I don't think
issues?
they're a threat to our national security, no, so they would be able to.
I think it really matters as to whether or not there's going to be a fair trade. And the fact is, we don't have fair trade. And that's the issue we've got to address. Can they buy a company? Sure. But our real problem continues to be that an American company is having to pay an extraordinarily high tax on everything they produce, but the countries who are importing to us don't have the same border adjustability that we do. And that's why we're losing jobs here. That's why people in Michigan are going looking for something to do. And that's what has to change. And it's not being changed. And this party is going to have to start addressing it, or we're going to get our britches beat next year.
Senator McCain.
Yes, of course, they have to pass the required security requirements and everything like that. Look, I'm a student of history. Every time the United States has become protectionist, and listen to this siren song that you're hearing partially on this stage tonight, we paid a very heavy price. The Smoot-Hawley Tariff Acts in the 1930s were direct contributors to World War II. It sounds like a lot of fun to bash Chinese and others, but free trade has been the engine of our economy in the last half of this year. It will continue to be, and free trade should be the continuing principle that guides this nation's economy.
Governor.
Of course you let a country invest in the United States, because we're going to have to stop thinking always in terms of defense and trying to keep other people out. The key is that America can compete around the world and win, and we do. In product after product, service after service, we're the best in the world. But we have to make sure that as we enter into agreements with other nations, we make sure that those agreements are in our benefit as well as theirs. Usually that's the case, but not always. And in some cases it's not. We're going to make sure that our goods and services are sold around the world, that they're not held up, that our technology is not stolen. And we're going to make sure that America gets the best shake in these agreements. And for heck, you got to realize this country can compete with anyone in the world, has before, will always. We do not rein in, put a moat around ourselves. We put down the drawbridge and say, let's go out and compete.
Senator.
The answer is yes. Dubai would own 20% of NASDAQ, but NASDAQ under this deal, as I understand it, would gain more than 30% of the Dubai company. It all depends on national security issues. Doesn't seem to be one there. But we should look at all these deals carefully because we have a vast infrastructure. The great portion of it is in private hands. There's no way, frankly, we can protect it all. So we need to do everything that we can to make sure that we're doing all that we can to protect the infrastructure we've got and scrutinize these deals, number one, first and foremost, from a national security standpoint.
Congressman Hunter.
No, because I don't trust them. And I don't trust them because a few years ago, Dubai, while an American customs agent was trying to stop them, set for delivery a set of nuclear triggers to an anonymous recipient in Islamabad, probably for the AQ Khan network. That went directly against American interests, so I would not do that. And to all my colleagues who talk about the joy of free trade, that requires one thing: good business deals. We've made the only business deal in the world with 132 other competitors where they get to have a rebate on their taxes and then put a block up of 15 to 20% tariff against our goods, and we don't get to do the same thing. That's why we have a trade deficit with countries that have higher labor rates in the United States. So we're short on good businessmen, and I would junk those bad trade deals, bring them back to the table, and I'd practice mirror trade. If a country wants to put a 15% tariff against the United States, they're going to see that reflected back at them. If they want to take it down to 1%, we'll take it down to 1%, but there's not going to be a one-way street any longer.
Thank you. Senator Brown.